It always been a dream of mine to play in the Big Ten, and we had some, lifting competitions in the Marine Corps and some football tournaments, and I did well, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I had never played football before this other than one season in high school, but it says a lot about the program. They gave a guy that played 1 year of high school ball, a tryout, and allowed me to fulfill a dream.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Carmel Catholic in Illinois. So yeah, I'd only played the 1 year, so it's definitely been a huge adjustment, but it's been fun, for sure.
Was that your senior year that you
No,
played?
it was just my freshman year. So I actually hadn't put on pads in like 11 years or something like that. It had been some time.
So you go to a tryout. I mean, what kind of led you to go to a tryout?
Yes, I'd contacted Coach Deal, and just kind of sent him, my numbers like 40-yard dash, bench press, stuff like that, and just told him I was interested in coming to the school and trying to walk on. So he brought me in for an interview. We talked a little bit, and then from there we had been in contact, for actually it ended up being close to 2 years, I believe, and then got in here and it was a 4-day tryout. So that's kind of how that went. It was a long process, but it worked out great.
What kind of brought you to Indiana in the first place?
It was actually kind of a weird series of coincidences, but my sister, she had a track meet here. She was a collegiate athlete, and she knew I was trying to play college ball. And I had contacted other schools in the Big Ten before IU, but I hadn't really got any response. And she called me one night and said, "Hey, I think you like the campus, and maybe give them a call, see what happens." And from there, Coach Steele everyone really was pretty receptive. They told me, based on your numbers, you might have a shot. So I told them I'll just apply to IU and come here.
What type of education are you pursuing?
Secondary education. So I'd like to be a teacher and coach someday. So down the road, we'll see.
And this would be next year, right? You're not going to show up, play against Iowa and anything like that, right?
Oh no. I would highly doubt it. Right now, I'm just right now I'm just
It'd be like
helping.
Rudy, just shows up from the Marine Corps. And
No, for now it's just helping the team any way I can. There's a huge learning curve. Obviously, going from never playing to the Big Ten. But they had me a little bit at like scout team linebacker, scout team fullback, wherever they need somebody to fill in to try to give them a look. I've just tried my best. But as far as playing, I think it'd be some time. It's quite a learning curve. It's definitely been a shocker for sure. These guys can hit pretty hard. That's for sure. I learned that the first day with Clyde Newton. It was the first play, he loosened my chin strap, and I was like, all right, this is gonna be interesting for sure. So. But yeah, just trying to help out in any way possible.
Do you see yourself as a linebacker? They see you as a linebacker?
I mean, to be honest, I'm so raw. I couldn't tell you. I'm open to try anything. But been working with Coach Inge a lot, and it seems to be, going well so far. So we'll see. I mean, maybe in the off season, maybe it'll change, or if we keep progressing, maybe I stay there. We'll see. But for now, I'm just worried about helping the scout team out.
Can you give us some of your numbers? I mean, what's your size and what's your
I'm about
bench and that kind of stuff?
6 feet. I actually had I weigh about 220. At Camp Pendleton, I ended up benching 450 pounds raw, which was the record at our area. Since then, I've probably decreased in strength a little bit just from wear and tear on the season. 40-yard dash, honestly, right now I couldn't automatically timed. I've never been, but I was pretty good in high school in track. I could do the 100-meter dash in about 11 flat, and I've retained most of my speed. So I mean, I'm probably middle of the road when it comes to speed, but strength is up there. So now I just got to get that learning curve, get over that, and see where it goes.
So you ran track. Any other sports in high school?
Nope. I did track, and then 3 years across country at Carmel, and then just the 1 year of football. And then I wanted to focus on track, and then that ended up not working out. So then I joined the Marines. I think it's kind of just knowing your place and observing these guys, because a lot of these guys have been playing since they've been like 7 years old. So I mean, everyone on this team and every coach knows what they're doing. So I've just kind of stepped back and kind of like known my place. Like I haven't played. Just because I was in the Marines, I don't deserve any special treatment when it comes to playing or anything at all. Like I'm on the scout team. It's just observing the guys that have been here before me and learning from them. So I talk to all the linebackers offline a lot about technique and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm extremely raw when it comes to that. So they're helping me out a lot. So that's kind of how that's been going.
You talked about Mark Dale and the other guys being receptive. How have the players been? How have you found the culture of the team?
It's been great. It actually reminds me of like my old platoon in the Marine Corps. It's a lot of good guys, and everyone's willing to help, no matter what the situation is, and it's a great atmosphere to be in. And I think the adjustment from going to the Marines to school would have been a lot tougher if I hadn't had like that support group. You know, like I said, everyone, like the linebackers, even from the first day, you know, they all started talking to me, you know, they're welcoming me, and even though I was raw and pretty bad right off the bat, you know, they're all encouraging me, give me a chance, you know. So it's kind of the same situation, just around, you know, guys that like the same thing, like lifting weights, hitting people, and that's kind of where I've fit in for the last like half decade. So it's been nice. It's made it a lot easier for sure.
So what's that like for you, kind of being several years older than most of these players, but still having to catch up?
You know what? I feel like once you hit an age of like maybe 20, from then on, maybe from 20 to 30, and I know Nate Boyer had said the same thing. He was a long snapper at UT. He said it's kind of you don't really change that much, other than maybe you'll mature a little bit more. But you know, there was another walk-on that's actually a little bit older than me. You know, and we've talked about it. You know, I feel like we're just one of the boys. You know, like I'm not anything just because I'm older. Like it doesn't change anything. Like maybe I can give guys advice on life. I mean, I've been through a little bit more. But as far as fitting in with the team, I just kind of feel like one of the dudes.
Where were you in the Marines?
Stationed at Camp Pendleton, and then two deployments overseas. And like I said, usually I don't really go into it because they weren't anything to brag about. And there were plenty of guys that did a lot more than me. So usually, like I said, it wasn't anything special at all. But you know, like I said, like my grandpa, he was a Marine in World War II, and you know, guys like that did so much more than a lot of us. So I usually there was a lot of times I'd come home and just say I was a construction worker or something, just because instead of being a Marine, because everyone always asks those questions, and you know, I feel like it's, you know, it's service for a reason. You serve the country, you know, not to get attention or anything. You know, you for me, I almost kind of hate getting a little bit extra attention just because I serve. But yeah, like I said, it was 2 deployments, but nothing too special at all. There was a group of us, maybe about 15 of us, that tried out about, I think it was 2 weeks before the season, in that range. So I kind of just went straight from the Marines to the tryout almost.
So was there just some like epiphany moment when you're back in the Marines saying, I want to play football?
Yeah, well, I had actually seen a video about Nate Boyer, you know, long snapper at UT, and like I said, I knew I could lift a lot, and I knew I could run pretty well, and I'm very competitive. And it was just, ever since I was a kid, it was my dream to play football, you know, in the Big Ten. And it didn't work out in high school because I was focusing on track and field, and then an injury kind of prevented me from running in college. But that's always been my sport. Like I just always dreamed of playing the sport. So it was during my first deployment where I talked to my corpsman, Doc Hoff. He just encouraged me. He was like, hey, you're a pretty big guy, you're pretty fast. He's like, you should give it a shot, because we always watched football together and, you know, kind of knew about the sport. So, and he knew how bad that I would like to play, so he encouraged me to do it. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to give it a shot. Why not? You know, I mean, you only get one chance really, so I figured I'd take advantage. Because I was in the infantry. I was a tow gunner and then cross-trained on all the machine guns. In the infantry, you're always training, so you really never have any downtime at all. It'll be the other guys that are non-infantry that usually participate in those teams. So because we were training, you know, all day, all night, like for months at a time, you know, so didn't really have time for that.
What was that injury that you had out of high school?
Oh, it was just a lower back. Like it was, I was a hurdler. I just strained it, and then my senior year, I ran through it. Like I still did like the relays and stuff, but my individual events weren't as good as they were. So I had some Division II scholarship offers, but it just didn't work out. Like nothing was really a good fit. So, like I said, just opted to go to community college for a little bit, work, and then I'd always wanted to be a Marine, so then I just went that route for a while.
And that's been in kind of your family, your grandfather?
Yes, he was a Marine, and then I've had uncles that have served. My Uncle Bill was a Marine. He's been coming to all the games. So that was kind of like my inspiration to do the Marine Corps. Like, you know, especially like my grandpa, he had lived with me my whole life, and he was a big football fan too. So I know he'd definitely be proud. But yeah, I just always wanted to do it, and it felt like the right fit at the time, and it definitely was. It was a heck of an experience for sure. While I was in the Marines, she was a collegiate athlete, so she kind of gave me the scoop as far as how it was going to go. So that definitely helped out. But other than her, I'm trying to think. I don't believe so. I mean, both my parents were. My mom was the state record holder in the mile for Illinois for quite some time, and then my dad was also a Division I athlete for a little bit in track and field. So, you know, my parents definitely got me involved in athletics pretty young, and definitely looked up to them, you know, my whole life, and that's probably why I'm here, you know.
And what are your parents' names?
Lisa and Jim.
And how fast was her time?
Back in the day, it was on cinder tracks with, I don't even know if she had track
Cinder
spikes.
tracks?
Or yeah, the cinder tracks. So I want to say she ran 4:51 or something like that, 4:52, and that was back in the 70s. So she's definitely a stud. Like no one gave her a run for her money at all. So she was definitely amazing, you know. And she had actually gone through when I was first deployed, she had gone through a severe illness. She contracted a very rare spine disease and was paralyzed, and she was actually on her deathbed. And kind of was my inspiration during the tryout because, you know, she fought back, and they said that she was probably gonna pass away, or there was a good chance, and she fought back, and now she can run again, which was like a miracle. But she's a fighter, you know. So that was kind of what I thought about during the tryout. And
So you were deployed when this was all?
yes,
What was it
I
like?
hadn't actually had contact with anyone back home for about a month or two, and then I called home, and then I found out. So it was pretty rough, you know. I mean, very close to my family, and it was devastating for sure. But you know, I had the support group of my guys in my platoon, and that helped me get through it for sure. But it was rough. It's definitely a difficult experience to get through for sure.
You had no chance to go home.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, you can't even take. I mean, in the Marines, it's kind of interesting, like especially in the infantry. And I learned that today at the VA. They said that I kind of pushed through maybe a couple severe injuries. You can't really take a day off because you're always training for the unexpected. You know, and we had guys even get shot in training in 29 Palms. So I mean, it's always like you're always on the move, you're always running and gunning. It's always you never know what to expect. So and it kind of prepares you for situations like that. Like when I found out about my mom, I mean, there was really nothing I could do about it. So I told my buddies, and then we just tried to move on and just pray for her, basically. And then eventually I got home, and we went for a jog together. So it worked out. So definitely a tough situation.